Alrighty, and hello everybody. Hey Woody, I see you there. Oh boy, was that oh boy having anything to do with what happened to Nick? I did hear about that. Yeah, he got his. Apparently, they mass flagged him and got his channel taken down. Hmm. Uh, I can hardly wait to hear about these random topics, and then three more. Okay. Let's see. But you pick some great articles, Mike. Yeah, yeah. I always try my best, Woody, and I always try to make it to where they're informative and stuff. And I thank you for the like, my friend. Let's see. I kid. uh, Anyways, yeah. All right, give me a sec. I gotta do something real quick. I'll be right back, but I'll leave some music on, and then when I come back, we'll probably look to, if you're still here, Woody, we'll probably look to get started on the topics tonight. Just going to step away for a quick moment to do something real quick. All right, let's see now. I hope it involves digs. Um, Now I'm not digging anything, as it were, but just basically just trying to, just set something up or help with the viewer count a little bit. Anyways, so two of us here, and as you may have noticed, this past week put up, um, I put up a new banner. So that basically is the banner I just put on what I normally say during the show. When I stop every few minutes, the idea is if you can like and share, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, and also, if anything, when I start reading the articles and stuff like that, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment on it or ask questions. Anyways, since I got one other person here, I guess I'll get started a little early tonight rather than wait for 8 to 10 minutes. So, Here's what's on tap for tonight. We do have 5 articles I'm going to go over, all from Bounding into Comics. I believe I have 3 that are comic related and a couple that are anime related, including, of course, some information on the upcoming Bleach. So I guess I'm going to start off with a couple of anime articles, and then we'll get into the comic articles. But basically, some news media announcing what platforms Bleach Thousand Year Blood War are going to be shown on. Fans are apparently there are some fans of Licorice Recoil that are upset for a lack of a lesbian ending to the season. There, look at that. Also, we got an interview with Mike Barron. We're going to go over. Ethan and Skyver has got some commentary on some stuff going on at DC particularly with the Robin, and then former Robin writer Bill Willingham says he never intended for Tim Drake's boyfriend, end quote, Bernard, to be gay. So, with all that being said, well, we're gonna get right into this. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Plus, of course, the wrestling roundup and the This Day in Each History towards the end of the show. That is always the case. So let's go ahead and get to this then. All right, so there we go. So there's the first article we're going to look at. All right, so as I have always say, if anything catches your interest, feel free to comment on it. Now, I don't know if the ADR guys now, if you remember, Vic, of course, did the English voice of Ikaku Madarame. I don't know if they've decided to bring him back or not. If LA is going to bring him back, or they're standing with Crunchyroll. So I guess we'll just wait and see there. Viz Media officially reveals platform for English language simulcast of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. Article by Nerdigan, published October 5th, 2022. Bleach, Bleach season is finally here. And after what has seemed like 900 years of waiting, Viz Media has at last confirmed where English speaking fans will be able to catch their respective simulcast of the highly anticipated Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. Otherwise known as the Quincy Blood War, Bleach's upcoming continuation will see Ichigo and the Soul Society, as well as some unexpected allies from Hueco Mundo, face off against the Vadenreich, a secret empire of Quincy, um, who have reappeared um, in order to take their revenge against the Shinigami, who defeated them hundreds of years prior. Like the original anime run, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War will be animated by Studio Pero and feature character designs by Masashi Kudo and music by Shiro Sagitsu. Studio Pero, which also, of course, has done Naruto and Yu Yu Hakusho. Great stuff coming out of that studio. Um, However, rather than original series director Noriyuki Abe, Bleach's 2021 revival will be helmed by Twin Star Exorcist director Tomohisa Taguchi. Well, that's a bit that might be a bit disappointing for some fans because Noriyuki Abe, again, pretty well-known director, not just of Bleach, but he also directed, of course, the Yu Yu Hakusho as well. On October 3rd, which was this past Monday, Viz Media announced via their official Twitter account that Bleach Thousand Year Blood War will exclusively simulcast in the U.S. on Disney's partially owned Hulu service. So I guess they're not going to. Guess they're not going to. I guess they're not going to show it on Toonami then, which is kind of disappointing. But then again, from everything I've been seeing, Toonami seems to be dying out a bit. partly because they're just pushing everything to the streaming sites now, getting everything off of television. Announced via their okay. All right. While the company also noted that the series will be available for international viewers on Disney Plus, it is not clear whether it will be simulcast or premiere according to an altered release schedule. 8:30 a.m. Pacific premieres 10:10, which is coming to Hulu. 8:30 Pacific. Wow, that's I would not necessarily agree with that timing. Bleach is one of those. It's actually better to be put on like a late night time slot rather than a morning slot like that. Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. The North American premiere of Bleach Thousand Year Blood War will be held by Viz Media at New York Comic Con on October 8th, which will be this Saturday. And another little tidbit, not that anybody here probably cares too much, but Jimmy Markey will be turning 45 on Saturday. Just a little trivia tidbit for you guys to think about there. And of course, Monica turned 47 yesterday. Everybody else turned 47 yesterday. While Ichigo and the gang will make their public return to take to the Ultimate Enemy on October 10th, which will be Monday. So it's not just that; it's Monday morning. Oh, that's gonna be a problem because kids. First off, some of their audience, which is like older teens, will still be in school at that point. They'll be on their way to school. They won't be able to see it. Right? You might have some college age kids who might be able to see it. That's fine, but yeah, I think for something like this, I think it's like okay, this is just. I think this is just dumb scheduling right here. I mean, who do they think they're going to attract premiering a show like this? Which you have the whole idea of of them battling death gods, and Quincy's and all that, battling each other, and the whole idea of exorcism and all that. That stuff should be more for like late night spot as opposed to early morning spot. And this is October 10th, which is Monday morning at 8:30. Now 8:30 a.m., 12:30 Eastern. Again, here in the States. Okay, so if you think about it, the main demographic for anime, right, for the most part, particularly for a show like this, is 15 to 25. That's basically older middle school through young adult. Okay? Most of the people who are going to be into watching this are likely going to be in that age range, 15 to 25. And that group of people, of course, is going to be in school at that time. So, again, it just kind of boggles the mind. It just boggles my mind. Just what are they thinking here on the timing here? This is not. This is it's. I don't. Is it one of those things where they're going to try to bury the show by putting it at a time that they know they're probably not going to get as much viewership for? Dog. No, not this time, Woody. Not this time. Wasn't Dog. It wasn't Chloe. It was something else. But anyways, young adults, what are they thinking? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, Bleach is one of those shows that the target audience is anywhere from like at the youngest, like basically last year middle school at the youngest through young adulthood. Okay, and for the most part, most of the people in that age range will be either in school, or the ones who are out of college will likely be at work. So this just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to put this at this particular time. Anyways, a synopsis for the first episode released through Bleach's official website explains of the story. Quote, it is observed that emptiness is disappearing one after another in this world. And the Soul Society and Technology Development Bureau are in an uproar. Unquote. Technology development. I wonder if that's Kuratsuchi's department. Anyways, quote. Meanwhile, in Karakura Town, the newly appointed Shinigami Ryunosuke Yumiki and Shino Madarame. I wonder if he's related to Ikaku Madarame. Encounter the imaginary as soon as they arrive. Unquote. It continues. Quote, it was Ichigo Kurosaki and his companions who helped the two who were helpless in a sudden attack. Unquote. Quote, 2 days later, a man wearing a mask appears in front of Ichigo and others who are interacting with Ryunosuke, who has regained consciousness, unquote. The synopsis concludes, quote, on the other hand, strange things are happening in the Soul Society. That I believe is Rangiku right there, Rangiku Madarame, who in English is voiced by Megan Hollingshead, who also did who's done of course My Valentine and of course did dub of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Um, um, She was Shizune in the Naruto franchise, among some of her credits there. Um, Thanks to their losing of the bidding wars for the series streaming license, September 30th saw all 16 seasons of the Bleach anime removed from nearly every streaming service, including Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Tubi. Every streaming service, that is, except Hulu, has personally confirmed to me via a response to Hulu Support's official Twitter, the iconic shonen series will be, quote, sticking around in our streaming library, unquote. On the international front, Steve Vegvari of Canadian Entertainment News site Mobile Syrup has given non-US fans an idea of when they can expect the Bleach backlog to hit Disney Plus. Um, According to a schedule for the month provided by Vigyari, Ichigo and crew will join the international versions of the House of Mouse's premiere streaming service on October 26th. So that would be 3 weeks from yesterday. There's Orihime right there. Imagine she coming in with goodies like that for you, huh? Anyways. Okay, so that's all for that. Let's see. Uh, is Bleach removed? Yeah, I think they just said that, BJ. They just said that in the article. I just read that. Apparently, it got removed from Crunchyroll, and I guess who's ever in charge of Hulu, it's going to be exclusive to Hulu now. I guess all 16 seasons. I guess they're saying Anime Beast. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they basically said that in the article. Oops, they just said that in the article. In fact, that it was in fact removed from. Let's see. Let me find that again. On this paragraph right here. That paragraph right there. Thanks to their losing of the bidding wars for the series streaming license, September 30th saw all 16 seasons of Bleach anime removed from nearly every streaming service, including Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Tubi. So yeah, exactly what happened. So, anyways, as I noted, we were done with that article. Gonna get ready to move on to the next one here. Here's the next one we're gonna do here. Apologies, BJ. All right. Hmm. Yeah, that wasn't really a deleted message. Yeah, I don't think that was really worth getting worth. um. Yeah, sorry about that, BJ. I guess we kind of jumped. I guess I'll jump the gun a bit there. So um, anyways, moving on to the next article here then. And as always, guys, again, feel free to ask questions and comment if anything, sparks your interest. Anything grabs your interest. That's what we want here. We want more conversations about this stuff. Um, so I want you guys to get involved and be involved in the conversation. So anyways, getting ready to all right. So anyways, getting back to the article here. I'll get into the next article. Um, yeah, on time here. 24, 45 minutes. Okay, good time I say, far. Anyways, okay, so here's the next article we're going to look at. Licorice Recoil, season finale writer attacked by mob of angry shippers over episode's lack of lesbian ending. Article by Nerdigan Inc., published October 5th, with support was yesterday. So let's take a look at this then. Um, the disappointed minority of Licorice Recoils and recently took their own headcanon to a whole new level of chaos, and they angrily descended upon a member of its production team after the series season finale failed to confirm their Yuri shipping fantasy. What they have to understand, though, is that it's not the creator's job to confirm your Yuri shipping fantasies. And for those of you who don't know Yuri basically means girls' love or lesbianism. Okay, so um, the creator is going to have their own vision of what the characters do. And if you don't like that, well, tough. Not their job to fulfill your Yuri fantasies. The outrage began on September 24th following the premiere of the episode in question. Sitting through episode 13, Recoil of Licorice, only to find that instead of confirming what they believe to be a deeply hinted at relationship between protagonist Shisato and Sakina, a ship commonly referred to as uh, Shisataki or Sakina, um, it instead focused on the bitter feud between the former and primary series antagonist, Majima. English shippers descended upon the season finale writer Yusuke Kanabayashi um, near immediately after its conclusion to angrily express their disappointment at what they considered to be a bait and switch. However, surprisingly, this mob was not made up of sexuality obsessed fans in the West, but rather those in the East, particularly China. Wow. Okay. That's something new. Usually you get these complaints from Western fans, but in this case, it's coming from China. The latter, according to Twitter user at no questions, engaged in attacking Kanabayashi by, quote, using alt accounts in Google Translate, unquote, to scold Kanabayashi in Japanese for not confirming their ship. Quote, from the very beginning, Licorice Recoil was made to look like a Yuri series, but in the end, nothing had progressed, said upset shipper at CAU 31 by Deep L. Well, I wonder though if maybe the creator of the manga intended it to be everybody else inferred it to be that, but doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it was. Okay, so the author's got a right to present their work as they see fit, not just because fans get a little upset over they didn't like to quote the fact that Majima didn't die at the end is the most cringeworthy part. It's the most sickening thing for someone like Majima to be in this work, unquote. Quote, Majima is not a girl, but as long as he is a man, I don't think he's a good idea to be the focus of the writing. Yeah, okay, this may be coming from China, but this sounds a lot like what we hear out west, too. Like a bunch of man haters. Again. They added, quote, do you even know who your audience is? Maybe he does, but and maybe there are members of the audience who like the way the show ended. Season ended. Again, you're just a very loud minority there, young lady. Let's see. What's your favorite Hunter x Hunter arc? Hunter x Hunter. I like them all. I'd say probably. I'd say the Yorkview arc is the one I'm probably most attached to. That's the one that I kind of know the most about. And that's another one that was, at least the original anime was. I don't know if the one that came out in 2011, but I know the one from '99, I believe, was also done by Studio Pero. But anyways, back to the article here. Quote, most of the people who buy Blu-rays, novels, CDs, and other merchandise don't want to see Majima. Unquote. The shipper continued. Well, that's the thing, though. If you have a bad guy that you hate so much that you don't want him there, the author's done a good job then, because to drive any drama, you need a good antagonist, and this is apparently a good series that's going to drive some drama, drive some storytelling. The shipper continued, quote, for those of you who don't know what the term shipper means, it's people who like to project their shipping fantasy, or like ship as in relationship fantasy. In other words, they'll watch an anime and they'll decide for themselves, oh, these two characters need to be shipped together, or these two characters need to be in a romantic relationship. And oftentimes a lot of this is coming from the LGBT community. You know, I know that Hiro Hayes talked a lot about like some of the shippers in the My Hero Academia community who try to sit there and get Bakugo and Deku as a it happens with some heterosexual stuff. It's like Naruto, aside from the Sakura, which actually did end up happening. So, the time they were much more focused with Naru, Naru Saku, at first he wanted to see Naruto and Sakura. Anyways, um, uh, I want to see Shitataki drawn by Imigi Muru Sensei was the best. That's why I bought the Blu-ray. Probably everyone who bought the Blu-ray feels the same way. You don't know that. You don't know that. You're only speculating there, Miss Shipper. You're only speculating that. You're just projecting your own thing onto something there. Only projecting your own views onto somebody else's work. A person who is a fan of Shistatake bought it for me, and I feel bad for the person who bought it. Yeah, but you're in the minority on that. Quote, why don't you at least thank the people who bought your stuff, unquote, at CU 31 ultimately demanded. Quote, are you making fun of me by writing something so gross as an indirect kiss in the last episode. Why didn't you write about Shizataki's indirect kiss? Maybe because that's not what that's what the source material didn't call for. Maybe the original source material didn't call for that. Did that ever cross your mind there, Miss Sia? I think the rating will be much higher than it is now. And in my opinion, if there is a second season, please don't ever take Mashima's side. I don't want any of that nonsense. All right. Well, that's really none of your concern. You know, it is true that only people who have been nerded, an acronym for notorare, essentially the Japanese term for cuckold, by women will write such a rubbish ending, unquote, accused at Zedig with, oh boy, anyways, quote, can you share your traumatic experience with others? No one cares what narcissistic sexuality you have, unquote. I wonder if this is person, let's see. I see what you were trying to say. The minority of these strippers were so angry that their promise Hisako and Takuna Yuri ship was never realized, that they escalated to making literal art and death threats against not just Kanabayashi, but also his mother. Oh yeah, that's real classy, people. That's real classy SPW stuff right there. Again, we can't blame the West in this case. He's coming from Chinese. Chinese SPW. In fact, the writer did not satisfy your ship fantasy is why he deserves all this drama. Okay. Yeah, you people really need to be locked in an asylum somewhere. All right? All right, so getting back to the article. And I guess this may be from one of the, probably what was translated from the Twitter here. Quote, your ancestors were pushed by the U.S. military in Japan to GARP you on the ground and gave birth to your mother with syphilis, declared Nozomi is Bluebird. Quote, and your mother was ARPed by more than a dozen disabled people and married a man with AIDS and end-stage urema. So she gave birth to the systematic sick bastard species of yours. Oh, real nice. Real nice. Real nice. And mind you, this is all because their shipping fantasy for the two girls was not realized. Again, that may not have been part of the original material. Did that ever occur to you? Remember, what people need to remember is anime is based on the mangas. Okay, if there wasn't a heavy ship in the manga, it's not going to get. They're not going to all of a sudden make it a serious ship in the in the anime just to satisfy a minority of people who want it. You know, just to satisfy a few cuckoos. You know, um, at Miyanaga Yoko bluntly threatened, quote, Yusuke Kanabashi died. Sakina is not your down. You die with Majima. Oh, these people are wonderful, aren't they? These people are the ones who probably need to be locked in an asylum somewhere. Wrap them up in a straitjacket, put them in a rubber room so they can bump back their heads and so all for 2010. The situation only escalated when Kanabayashi broke his silence to address a question asked by um, Maple Sadi about a scene which particularly triggered shippers, wherein Shisato and Majima shared a drink from the same. Um, there's a word missing there. Quote, I see from Twitter that many people think that the water drinking scene is gruesome. That's what got them triggered? Them drinking water together? Wrote Aunt Maple sorry. What on earth did you intend to make this scene? Um, do you intend to contrast episode 8 and bring out the differences in thinking between the different tastes of the adversaries? I don't know if she's being as critical or if she just had a legitimate story plot for it there. But let's see. Quote, there are many layers to the description, unquote, Kanabayashi replies. Quote, the intent of Senzoku and Majima's action, the meanings they ascribe to the work, metaphors or meanings that arise independently of the creator's intention. Unquote. Quote, Senzoku and Majima are not acting with the audience in mind, which is true. The, again, the anime has its own self-contained universe. There's no breaking of the fourth wall there. They don't care if you want. They don't care if you want to see a Chisato Takina relationship. Okay, they're just doing their thing because that's their thing that they're doing in their universe. Um, he explained, "Quote: I think it is up to the viewer to find meaning in that. As for us, we are open to interpretation." Unquote. All right. Unsurprisingly, the explanation was not good enough for the mob, who instead only found themselves more emboldened in their assault on Kanabaya. Yeah, this sounds a little bit like he was trying to placate them, and as we've learned over the last 3 years, you don't placate to SJWs. You don't placate to them because once you start placating, it won't stop. They will force you to placate into submission. You know, you just got to just do your own thing, and if they don't like it, they don't have to watch the anime. They don't if they don't like the fact that because I'm sure there are people who probably do like the anime. After hearing this, I may even watch it at some point, you know, just to check it out, you know. just to see what all the hubbub is about. But if you're watching anime to try to fulfill your own, desires instead of wanting to interact with the universe that it's in, then you're not doing yourself any favors. You know, if you want to go out and create your own universe through a manga or a comic or an anime or whatever, do it. You know, but don't expect somebody who's created their own world, their own creation, to placate to your demands or your desires. Okay, they're going to create a world. They're going to hope that people enjoy it, but they're not going to change their vision just because a small group of people here are going rabid over the fact, they didn't get their any of their fantasy ship, realized. Let's see. Quote: "You cheated a lot of your fans. You cheated a lot of Yuri fans." Unquote. At Code Simone. Well, I don't know. Did he? Is the series is Licorice Recoil actually a Yuri series? Is it an actual Yuri series or not? You know. Let me just look at the sources here to see if I can figure it. Um, so according to okay, so according to Wikipedia, it's an action-based genre anime. Girls with Guns, which are pretty popular in Japan. I know of a few that I like, including Noir and Gunslinger Girl. Um, the thematic trilogy of Noir, Madlax, and um, can't remember the third one right now, but Gunslinger Girl. Um, but Girls with Gun anime. Let me check one more source. Yeah, and according to Anime News Network, Licorice Recoil is an action-based anime with the theme of girls with guns. They're not saying there's no indication on any front that it's an actual Yuri series where the focus is about shipping girls together. So these people are they're just projecting. They're projecting. They're just mad that they didn't get what they wanted. You know. At HDDHH, Shelley complained, quote, "Don't shirk your responsibility to the character." Oh my goodness. That's one of the stupidest statements I've ever seen. Don't don't shirk your responsibility to the characters. Who says that the original creator of the characters even thought that, you ding dong? Quote, "You say that the character's action has nothing to do with the creator's intention." In bracket, but didn't you write the bleeping script? Unquote. They screeched. If the characters can take action spontaneously, you'll probably lose your job. and I'm not even going to try to read that, disgustingly proclaimed, quote, "You are actually my son. Your mother was a comfort woman during the anti-Japanese war, and I directly bleeped her." Oh, real nice. That's a real nice one there. 111. Oh, boy. Crazy people getting this mad because their shipping fantasy wasn't fulfilled. Absolutely ridiculous. Insane, ridiculous, stupid. These people need to be rounded up and put in an asylum somewhere. Wrapped up in a straitjacket, put in a rubber room, and let them bang their heads in the rubber wall for a while. And that will take care of their rabid personalities. Okay, so getting ready to move on to the next article. And now we're done actually with the anime stuff. I believe those are the two anime articles. Now we're going to get into some of the comic articles here. Oh yeah, we got 3 more here. Let me just do something real quick here. All right, so here's going to be the next article we're going to look at here. And of course, there's been a lot of talk about this. I know RJ recently had Mike Barron on his channel for the launch party of this most recent book, Private American. Interview. Mike Barron's Private American fills void left by Woke Punisher and Captain America. Article by Paul Hare, published yesterday. So, see how we go with this. Marvel Comics has alienated comic book fans by wokeifying the Punisher and Captain America. But the destruction of these characters has presented author Mike Barron with the opportunity to replace them with Private American. And Bounding into Comics spoke with him about the forthcoming graphic novel featuring his newest creation. Private American features a Cuban-American protagonist named Marco Zamora. He's a former Army Green Beret, a dishonorably discharged one. More on that in the interview. Who launches a war against drug cartels and more after the lawlessness of America's southern border hits him at home. And if you think this sounds like a tale that might ruffle a few feathers, you're right. A September 28th press release from the creative team promises that, quote, controversial ideas fly like bullets in this brisk action adventure comic, unquote. Yeah, so he's saying he's gonna probably like I'm probably ruffling the feathers of a few SJWs, as it were. The title of the graphic novel both describes who Zamora is, a private American, and it's also a subtle dig at Captain America, who, like the Punisher, has gone woke. Barron, of course, wrote the Punisher comic book series for several years back in the late 80s and early 90s. Joining Barron on Private American are illustrator Richard Bonk, colorist Gabe Eltaeb, and Itzan Ansori. Eltaeb, of course, the one who left DC Comics after they decided to drop Truth, Justice, and the American Way from Superman comics. And letterer Warren Montgomery. Bonk, a longtime Barron collaborator, Steve Rude, will provide two different covers. So it's quite an interesting setup for a new tale and new character, and it made for an interesting interview. So here we go with the interview, that interview portion of this article. Let's see how so. Sounding into comics. What inspired you to make hero Marcus Zamora a dishonorably discharged veteran instead of an honorably discharged Mike Barron? Sometimes I just go with my gut. The soldiers being forced out for refusing back or misgendering other soldiers, it's no great stretch to think the army, in brackets army, would dishonorably discharge a soldier who shot an Iraqi in cold blood. Um, why? Because the Iraqi was torturing a dog. There are videos on the net of Arabs torturing dogs. Don't look, don't look at them. Coming in the comments. Will private Americans target the actual illegal aliens invading the nation, or just the drug cartels who are doing the smuggling? Why or why not? Mike Barron's response: Marcus goes after human smugglers, drug smugglers, harpists, and terrorists. As a son of immigrants, he understands most just want a better life. If our government has no respect for the rule of law, why should they? They have nothing to lose. I'm sure you know that Venezuela opened its prisons and sent all the criminals to the U.S. border. Counting in the comments. Is Private American intended to be a one shot story, or does this have the potential to become a new ongoing character series? Mike Barron. It depends on the reaction. We caught lightning in a bottle with thin blue line. I just finished a sequel. It's called The Revolving Door. There's a crossover with Private American that will become evident to readers of Private American. It looks like Mike Barron's actually looks like Mike Barron here is maybe putting together a pretty interesting universe, pretty interesting comic universe to really get into here. Bounding in the comics. Will Private American cover controversial ideas other than the ones about the open border? Mike Barron, in response, it's ludicrous that protecting our border is controversial. The government's first duty is to protect its citizens. Only in this insane inversion of right and wrong would anyone entertain for an instant that open borders are right. The Border Patrol just announced the seizure of enough fentanyl to kill the entire population of the U.S. 3 times over. 750 migrants have died this year crossing the border. The administration flies illegals all over the country in the dark of night. While Americans are forced to stay inside and wear masks, not a single migrant was tested for COVID. The other issues are collateral, such as corruption of law enforcement. Yeah, sounding in the comics. Does the fact that Private American is one of many comic books that are smashing through their crowdfunding goals signal that the comic book industry has now permanently changed so that the big two publishers no longer control it? Mike Barron in response, I don't know about that, but many think the big two will stop publishing books altogether, farm them out to other which I know that like Ethan Van Sciver and Yellow Flash have both talked about that possibility. Um, their current publishing choices in, inexplicable to longtime readers. Dropping Truth, Justice, and the American Way for Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow is emblematic. I'm sure you know what I mean. All you have to do is read bleedingfool.com or boundingintocomics.com. Oh, so you get your own little advertisement here, huh? Bounding into Comics. Anybody can put out a comic, and a lot of self-produced comics aren't going to set the world on fire. But some are. Some of the newer Comicsgate books are outstanding, such as Rini's Fiendish, Aaron Lopresti's Wrath of God, Blood Hunters, and EBS's Cyberfrog. And I believe EBS is, putting together a Cyberfrog universe there, what I've seen. Right now, it's blue skies for everyone working on Private American. It took fewer than 6 hours for the crowdfunding campaign to hit their initial goal of 10,000. Okay, so I guess we're past the interview part. So, of $10,000 on Indiegogo. Now it's a matter of how many stretch goals they can unlock. Head on over to the website right here, privateamerican.com, to contribute and to learn more about the graphic novel. All right, there we go with that one. So this will be the next article. Before I do that, I'll be right back. I'll computer for a moment. I'll be right back. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, um, let's move on to the next article here. Even then, Skyver blasts, quote, embarrassing, quote unquote, embarrassing, Tim Drake, Robin number one, as, quote, Tumblr and Grinder Fleet from DC. Article by J.D. Augustine, published yesterday. And I know Yellow Flash had some critical words for this as well. After making Tim Drake LGBT in Batman Urban Legends, DC is sending him further down that path in a new series, Tim Drake Robin. To no one's surprise, the book is not winning the approval of comic pros like Ethan Van Sciver or fans and industry analysts in the same camp. Yeah, I mean, I know Yellow Flash had a video on this was about a week or so ago. So, in response to a tweet bringing to his attention our story about Jonathan Kent's grand coming out to the world in the last issue of Superman Son of Kal-El, EBS wrote he previewed the issue of Tim Drake and thought it was another, quote, embarrassing, unquote, example of the bleep DC puts out, quote unquote. Quote, we previewed Tim Drake, Robin number one. Actually, in fact, RJ even previewed that too and had said a lot of the same things. I know RJ did a video, I think, what was it, this week or last week, where he pretty much did, in fact, it was earlier this week. I think it was on Monday, where he released a review, a comic review video on this. And he was pretty much saying a lot of the same things that we're going to probably see here. Let's see. We previewed Tim Drake, Robin number one last night, which was an extended gay dating scene between Tim Drake and some weird creep named Bernard, unquote. EVS tweeted, quote, DC Comics is just Tumblr and Grinder bleep now. It's embarrassing, unquote. Uh-huh. And I do know for a fact that, as I said, RJ pretty much was saying a lot of the same thing, maybe not in such the same manner as EBS was, but the general context of it was the same, as well, of course, as Yellow Flash. Let's see. And then we got a tweet right here. I guess this was Ethan Van Sciver responding to somebody named Don Draw stuff, Ed Draw stuff, where he basically was asking Ethan, John Malin, and Shane Davis Art. Will this madness never end? Well, I think most people would agree that it will end when these people are out in the streets. Because people aren't buying their books. That's basically when it ends. People stop buying their books and they're not making the money and they can't, pay their bills. That's when it will stop. Tim's friend Bernard is not being, and we have a little bit more information in another article. Will be in fact, it'll probably be the next one right after this. In fact, kind of along these same lines here. Tim's friend Bernard is not being received well by anybody due to his overt creep factor. Even after being in the comics for years, but he is not only the only thing turning readers off. The quality of the art is being deplored, up and down. Author and Twitter user Mike Partika, who couldn't believe how bad the art is one case in point. Quote tweeting Van Sciver with a panel from the issue, Partika wrote, quote, I just couldn't believe how in stars here, ugly the art was. That shocked me more than the content. What hashtag comics company actually wants their characters drawn so, in stars here, ugly? These are not characters anyone would want to look at for extended periods of time. Yes, and I know that RJ and Yellow Flash both panned the art on this as well. I know that both RJ and Yellow Flash both panned the art on this as well. It's just like I heard a lot of people very critical of the book as a whole, but yeah, that's I don't know. That's their attempt at trying to be noirish and just not working. uh, Ryan Kinnell of YouTube's RK Outpost, who is, of course, is a regular guest on Yellow Flash's Flashcast, isn't impressed with the art or the content either. In a recent video, he abhors the art and Bernard's creepiness. Quote, this is published art from DC Comics, unquote, says aghast. Quote, what is this crap? Later on, Cannell pans the way Tim is rendered as one of the worst things he has ever seen. Now, mind you, Grant, I'm not exactly an artist. I can't draw worth garbage. Okay, but one of the things I can tell when I look at this, it's almost like they were trying to go with a noir look and just failed. It's like they were trying to go with some kind of noir look and just absolutely just tanked. Just failed. It's the thing that causes mass regurgitation in people. I guess this is from a video from young Ripa here. Yes, he's saying it. But if only that was all. Cannell also points out that Tim Drake's sexuality is somehow inside knowledge of the cops. At one point, Tim shows up in his Robin costume at a crime scene, to aid police when one officer says to him he is not Robin's quote unquote fairy gay father. That was one of the detectives. Yeah, and I know RJ talked about that too. RJ, when he reviewed the book this week, basically on his channel, basically said much of the same thing. Quote, Marvel and DC have become obsessed with identity politics, unquote, Cannell observes, adding, readers wanting good art and stories and sick of the BS are being driven to new alternatives, such as the Ripaverse, where sales for ISOM #1 continue to climb higher than anyone expected. And of course, as we just read in the previous article, Mike Barron's Private American is hitting its target as well. You have a lot of material out there. You got of course Canadian Shield from Rick Piper. You've got Melvin from Max Lee. You've got you've got you got a lot of Cyberfrog and even Van Sciver, obviously. Oh, that's a continuing series. Anyways, what do you make of Tim Drake Robin number one? Yeah, from what little I've seen, it's probably not something I'd care for. Alrighty then. So we got one more article to go over here. And this is the article I was just talking about here. It's kind of very interesting. Mike Myers. Wait, do you like enchilada? Well, they're okay. Um, I don't know. That doesn't have much to do with what we're talking about, though. That's the only thing. Um, we're talking niche content here. But anyways, all right. Anyways, getting on to this next article here. All right, so former Robin writer Bill Willingham says he never intended for Tim Drake's "quote unquote" boyfriend Bernard to be gay. Article by J.D. Augustine, published earlier today. Let's see, we're on our last story. Let's see where we're at. Time here. Okay. All right, so let's get into this one now. Um, all right, let's see if we. All right, let's hold on. Oh, great. How's this thing? All right, let me just trying to fix something here, folks. Um, be right back with it. Mm. On here. What happened on the other? Oh man, why is this thing? Oh great. Why is this thing not? Okay. Is my keyboard not working? What did I hit now? Oh man. Finally. I hate it when that. I don't even know why that happened. I don't know why my computer all of a sudden the keyboard wasn't working right here. Anyway, let's get down to this. Get back to what we were looking at earlier here. Okay. All right. So we were going on to this article here about former Robin writer Willingham here saying that he didn't intend for Bernard to be gay. So let's go ahead and take a look at this now. Writer Bill Willingham, who at one time penned Tim Drake's adventures as Robin, is speaking out about DC's decision to retcon a character he created, Tim's quote unquote boyfriend, Bernard Dowd, as gay in the new series. In a Substack post, Willingham reveals he did not envision Bernard as interested in men. Quote, as originally conceived, Bernard Dowd was many things, but he wasn't gay, unquote, he wrote. He continued, um, quote, I can know this for a certainty because unlike living historical figures. It's possible to know the secret inner workings of a fictional character because they are whatever the author wrote them to be. Key point there. Key point there. Which is why I think at times when we see how some of these guys like Tom Taylor and Brian Michael Bendis or how they're trying to warp, such characters as Superman and Captain America, that the original guys who create, I think Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster have got to be turning over in their graves right now, considering what they've done with the Superman character. Maybe not with Clark Kent himself, but what they've done with some of the other characters there. As crafted by Willingham, Bernard's first appearance was in Robin, Volume 2, number 121 in 2003. Willingham presented a page from that issue demonstrating that Bernard, while cocky, was originally into girls. The writer cites creative liberties taken by the legal owner of the character, DC, through their work-for-hire policy as a reason for the creative shift. Now, since DC owned it, now they are bringing in these more woke writers, these people who are into identity politics. They want to, of course, try to make everybody their own personal little, billboard. Quote, yes, I know when dealing with work for hire, it means DC Comics actually created him, as I admitted above, unquote, Willingham said. Quote, but before the retroactive reality imposed itself, I conceived the character, wrote his first appearance, wrote many subsequent appearances, and decided who he would be and who he wouldn't be, unquote, he added. Former Robin writer further explained, quote, only then, by submitting those stories and accepting DC's paycheck, the magic kicked in, and it turns out DC created everything all along, unquote. To illustrate the point better, Willingham used a moment of Bernard fawning over Tim's attractive stepmom as another example. Oh, and in this case, Bernard Dowd liked girls. He had a crush on Tim Drake's hot stepmother. Kind of reminds me of the song from a few years ago. Maybe it was back in the 90s. Stacy's mom. I don't know if any of you remember here. Stacy's mom has got it going on. Kind of reminds me of that here. And that's about it for the romantic sexual front. There were no other deep hidden secrets to uncover. No big deal, unquote, he said. As for why he's bringing this up, Willingham gave two reasons. Quote, first, in Tim's big coming out scene, not one but two fictional characters had to be retconned to make it happen, unquote, he said. Quote, more than one beloved funny book character had to be repurposed, and yes, this may be pride of authorship rearing its ugly head, but I liked Bernard. At least his version of Bernard, I take it, he added. Willingham wants Bernard's unnecessary retcon to get more attention. Quote, would it be too much to ask all of you crusading journalists of text and video to dig a little deeper in your investigations, unquote, he asked. Quote. So I'm kind of guessing here. I guess Willingham's initial intent for Bernard was to be to Tim Drake what Pete Ross was to Clark Kent. That's my take on what he's saying here. My take is Bernard was originally intended to be Tim Drake's version of Clark Kent's Pete Ross. Quote, sure, Tim is the uncontested headline of the story, but Bernard's parallel transformation deserves at least a mention, right? Unquote. He continued. His second reason is he aims to show us how easy it is to revise a canon so a publisher or creative team can do what they want. So maybe it's also a warning that Willingham is putting out there that maybe you just shouldn't get involved with the major publishers. Maybe getting involved with the major publishers sometimes is like getting involved with corporations. You become subject to their rules and their ideas and their virtue signal. Let's see. Quote, second, unlike historical living people, fictional characters can be changed at a whim, and you can even go back in the past to do it. You can add evidence that wasn't there before. You can remove evidence that was there before, unquote, he pointed out. In other words, what he's saying is you could either go back in time and add the fact, he did this, and this is what this shows that he's gay, or you can go back and like in the case of Tim Drake, for example. Okay, it was pretty established throughout the 90s and 2000s that he and Spoiler were kind of a thing. And you can go back and take a lot of those elements out to push that agenda. Using a fan edit of the previous panel, Willingham proves Bernard's history can be altered with a few words. One dialogue bubble is changed to make it look like he has a crush on Tim. So you can do anything you like because these characters don't actually exist and never did, unquote. Didn't it? At the same time, however, Willingham sees that serious questions are raised about work for hire. So this does, however, open up a larger discussion on the advisability of doing work for hire, knowing, or at least you should have known, that the new legal creator can do anything it wants with your creation. Maybe we'll explore that someday, unquote, he wrote in closing. I think that's where he was going with a lot of this in his statement there. Maybe you shouldn't do work for hire. Maybe you should go out and be like what Ethan's done, and what John Malin and Mike Barron and Moloviches and Rick Piper and Max Lee. Do what a lot of these guys did, and just kind of oh wow, I didn't even oops. I read it, but I forgot to share it again. Oopsie. I didn't even realize that. I had to got a little late for that anyways, but oh well. All right. I read it, but I just forgot to share it again because I had closed the window there trying to fix. I was eventually able to fix my keys here to where they were working again. So let's see now. We're at hour 37. Okay. So we still do have the wrestling roundup, and we do have quite a bit to go over there. Alrighty then. Let's see. Hour 38. So, yeah, so we do have some wrestling news to go over as well here. First off, to talk a little bit about some WWE news. Of course, this Saturday. In fact, I should probably do that first. This Saturday, of course, is Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules is happening this Saturday. There are, I think, about 5-6 matches that have been announced. From the Wells Fargo Center. Okay, so before that, of course, let's first talk about that. So this Saturday, from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, WWE is going to be hosting its Extreme Rules event. Among the matches include Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's title, Bayley in a ladder match, Liv Morgan defending the SmackDown Women's title against Ronda Rousey in an Extreme Rules match, and a good old-fashioned Donnybrook 6-man tag match. The team of Imperium of Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci take on the Brawling Brutes of Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland. Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross will be involved in a strap match. Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle will be involved in a fight pit match with MMA star Daniel Cormier serving as special referee. And in an I Quit match, Edge takes on Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. So those are the matches that are signed for this Saturday's Extreme Rules event. Also, some other news coming out, of course. It looks like they may be making some change. In the upcoming week here, next week here, as part of the season premieres of Raw and SmackDown, they're going to be having. There's going to be some changes coming. Pat McAfee, of course, has gone back to doing his football commentating, so I think there'll be a new commentator on Raw. There has been some rumors some changes are coming. They just don't know if it's just set design changes or what have you. But anyways, with that, going to last night's Dynamite. Let's see, on the show itself, of course, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara defeated Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. Through, of course, not so honorable ways, mind you. The women's 6-man match really was a hot item as AEW interim women's world champion Toni Storm teamed with Athena and Willow Nightingale to defeat the team of Penelope Ford, Jamie Hayter, and Serena Deeb, with Saraya and Dr. Britt Baker in the respective corners. And after the match, of course, Willow Nightingale gets the pin on Deeb, I believe, and then we got a physical confrontation between Saraya and Dr. Britt Baker. and it's just good to see. It's good to see like some of the girls like Willow Nightingale getting elevated here. Seeing like people like Britt Baker get taken down a peg. You know, contrary to what her own personal belief is, she is not all that in a bag of chips too. MJF defeated Wheeler Yuta, and then they teased their possible face turn for MJF, as it looked like he and Wheeler Yuta were going to shake hands after the match, until, of course, Lee Moriarty of the Firm and Stokely Hathaway came out, and Moriarty attacked Yuta from behind. You also saw Darby Allin defeat Jay Lethal in their match, and another possible face turn happening there, as even though both men had agreed not to have their seconds come out, in other words, Darby agreed not to have Sting come out with him, and Jay Lethal, had said he did not want Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh to come out for him. They came out, distracted him. Darby Allin and it looked like Darby Allin and Jay Lethal shook hands, much to the shock of Dutt and Singh there. So that we'll see what happens there. And then another interesting plot story that's developing. So Wardlow defended the TNT Championship last night against Brian Cage, who we haven't seen in AEW in months. He actually did provide a good challenge for him. It was a pretty good match there, with, of course, Wardlow getting over. Then Cage's Embassy teammates, the Gates of Agony and Prince Nana, all started attacking Wardlow, when you had Samoa Joe and FTR come out, which is, of course, setting up for, I think, a Battle of the Belts this Friday. FTR defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships against the Gates of Agony. Now, Battle of Belts is happening this Friday, so it'll be so you'll have Rampage on its regular time. Then right after, you'll have Battle of the Belts 4. And signed thus far for Battle of the Belts 4 include the aforementioned ROH World Tag Title match between FTR and Gates of Agony. You have Jade Cargill will be defending the TBS Championship against Willow Nightingale. And you'll also have Pac defending the All-Atlantic title against Trent Beretta of Best Friends. And this show, both Rampage and Battle of the Belts 4 will be live. These will be live events. So, not pre-taped as they had been in the past. So, at least it looks like they're going to try to book Rampage a little stronger there. Now, also this Friday, another big event coming up from Impact Wrestling, Bound for Glory. This year's Bound for Glory is happening this Friday. Of course, we already know that Josh Alexander will be defending the Impact World title against Eddie Edwards of Honor No More. The Impact World Tag titles will be on the line as the Honor No More members Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, known as the OGK, with Maria in their corner, will be defending against the tag titles against the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Is coming from the Washington Avenue Armory in Albany, New York. You'll also have Mike Bailey defending the X Division title against Frankie Kazarian, who won the gauntlet match to become number one contender. Jordan Grace defends the Knockouts title against Masha Slamovich. Vexed, VXT, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo defend the Knockouts Tag Team title against Jessica and Taya Valkyrie. Mickie James continues her last rodeo tour. She will be taking on Mia Yim. And as always, if she wins, she continues. She's basically testing herself. She wins, she continues. If she loses, she retires. Basically, that's the kind of the thing she put on herself there. And then in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, there's going to be a Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, which I think is similar to Money in the Bank idea, where the winner will get a future title shot at whatever title they choose. So the participants in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match include Anna No More's PCO, Bobby Fish, Heath, Sami Callihan, Rich Swann, Steve Macklin, Moose, Steve Macklin, who just recently defeated Moose and Sami Callihan in the barbed wire match at Victory Road, Giselle Shaw, and Bhupinder Gujjar, who's coming off of his defeat at the hands of Brian Myers, looking possibly to win this match to get another shot at Myers, probably. And again, Impact's been having kind of course, initially with the Digital Media Championship, of course, where you are having some matches of women versus men here, intergender matches that are maybe some more traditionalists like myself don't necessarily care for, but what it is. So let's see. Hey, Bianca. Thank you for dropping in there. Good to see you there. Thank you for the like and the share. All right, so basically that's all the wrestling roundup we have for you. So with that, let's start to wind things down now. It's about time. So let me just look at some stuff. So with that being said, today being Thursday, October 6th, 2022, why don't we go ahead, take a look back on this day in Neat's history. Okay, so all right. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start it on that. So first off, we're going to go head back 30 years ago today. Is on this date, 30 years ago today, back in 1992. The 410th issue of Captain America went on sale on this date back in 1992. Sold for $1.25 with and had 32 pages. The story was Diamonds Are for Vengeance. It was 22 pages, written by Mark Gruenwald, penciled by Richard Levins, inked by Daniel Bulanadi, lettered by Joseph Rosen, and colored by John C. Cebollero. So on this date, now this book, of course, started out as Tales of Suspense, and then at issue 100 was changed to Captain America. So on this date, back in 1992, 30 years ago today, the 410th issue of Captain America went on sale on this date back in 1992. So moving on to the next piece in each history here. Okay, so on this date in 2007, which was 15 years ago today, from the Inman Sports Complex in Edison, New Jersey, Ring of Honor held its fourth pay-per-view called Undeniable. In the main event, apparently saw Necro Butcher defeat Jay Briscoe. Nigel McGuinness defeated Takashi Murashima for the Ring of Honor World title. Let's see. Among some of the other notable matches include No Remorse Corps of Davey Richards and Rocky Romero defeating the Resilience, Eric Stevens and Matt Cross. Claudio Castagnoli, who's currently in AEW, of course, most recent Ring of Honor champion, defeated Jigsaw at that point in time. Austin Aries defeated Roderick Strong. In a six-man match, the Hangman 3, Adam Pearce, of course, a former NWA World Champion, and Albright and BJ Whitmer defeated Delirious, current WWE star Kevin Steen, who's known as Kevin Owens, and another current WWE star, Elton Eric, who's known as Sami Zayn in there. Bryan Danielson would defeat Chris Hero on the night, and then the opening match saw the Age of the Fall, Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black defeat the Vulture Squad of Jack Evans and Ruckus. So on this date back in 2007, Madison, New Jersey, our Ring of Honor's fourth pay-per-view, Undeniable. Went on, was held. Anyways, moving on to the next piece in Niche history here. Okay, so on this date back in 2012, 10 years ago today, the first part of a three-part movie trilogy, Kuela Magi Madoka Magica, the movie, the part one, Beginnings, premiered on this date in 2012. 10 years ago today, Shaft's Kuela Magi Madoka Magica, the movie Beginnings, premiered on this date in Japanese theaters 10 years ago today. Kind of a very surreal anime, to say the least. Seen it. And finally, last but not least, go back 5 years ago today, on this date in 2017, from Allspark Pictures and DHX Media, My Little Pony the movie, the 2017 film, premiered on this date back in 2017. So 5 years ago today, My Little Pony the movie from Allspark Pictures and DHX Media premiered on this date back in 2017. So there we go with that, guys. All I have for you tonight in terms of news and history. Let me see here. Just a reminder, of course, tomorrow night I will have Chris and Diane Tomolovich on with me as we will be concluding our coverage of May of 1939 and our historical comic retrospect. We'll be looking over Comics on Parade, Volume 1, Number 15 from United Feature Syndicate. We'll commentate on it. I'll read some of the features out of it. As always, guys, whenever you drop by, always feel free to comment and ask questions about the material that we cover. And if I can't answer the questions, I'll do my best to do so. So with that, guys, I thank you all for being here. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.